Hello, everyone. My name is Jenny Burak. How is everybody doing? I was wondering if I was actually going to make a video for the eclipses this year. Some of you pointed out in relation to what I look like last video that I didn't look so good. And I am going through a lot of health stuff. And I figured I might as well just tell you guys because the videos are like getting postponed so much. But, you know, I'm doing my best. And I'm kind of at that point. I don't want to give up what I love, which is talking to all of you. But it's like at some point, you know, you can't do everything for everybody anymore. And I'm there. I'm past that. Really. I think a lot of people who are full-time caregivers are reaching the same conclusion. I know it from talking to some of you. But yeah, and I just have, you know, I have to deal with the health stuff. We'll talk about it in another video because it does have to do with sensitivity. All those of us that are like ultra sensitive have food, you know, sensitivity, stuff like that comes in when we go through these upgrades. So I'm working through it with some people, and I'll figure it out. We will figure it out. So yeah, that's why this is late, and there's really like nothing I could do. So I'm happy to be here now. I apologize that it's so late. But you know, I always talk about like what's coming up in the videos that I do anyway. I always, he is saying lean into the energies for the future. You know, Metatron will a lot of times allude to, especially with an eclipse, because really it isn't like it just all of a sudden comes up at the eclipse. Like a lot of people who I know personally that have like a Sag rising, Sag moon, have already been in their eclipse event for a while. And I know just talking to some of you this week, you guys also went in early and were not a Sag sun or Sag rising. So with eclipses, it's kind of like, you know, you've come that energy before it actually comes in with the date. It's already manifesting. You know, things are unfolding. So we're going to talk about the two eclipses. We have the full moon, super moon, meaning the moon is unusually close to the earth. And it's also a full lunar eclipse. Like a lot of times when we talk about eclipses, they're not actually, the sun isn't completely covering the moon, but this one is, and I think it's been like 2-3 years since we had a real, you know, legitimate sun covering the moon eclipse. And you'll be able to see this from the Australia, the Western United States, Western South America, Southeast Asia, and you should be able to see about 14 minutes of blood. It will, like red, not blood, sorry. It will turn red. And, you know, of course, today while I make this video, Saturn, Big Brother, Metatron is saying, the eye in the sky, the master. Some of us can see him as like this force over us that's like, better not do that. Whenever you get that, that's Saturn. And he is stopped today. He has been at this degree. He's at like 13 degrees and 10 minutes. He's been there in Aquarius for a few days. He's still going to be stationary until the 26th. He's going to tick forward just 1 minute. And that will be the day of the eclipse. So we had that full moon in Scorpio where Pluto was stationary, retrograde. And so we feel when we're born with a planet that's stationary, direct, or retrograde, that energy is intensified. So that kind of brings that full moon energy through the 5 months following it as he's moving back. It kind of keeps it fresh. You know, with astrology, things don't happen like at the date or the time. And then with this, of course, Saturn is going to be moving back just about as up up until very close to the time that we have the eclipses coming again 6 months from now. So I think he goes forward, it's October 10th, and that will take us back to whatever was going on for us Valentine's Day. Okay, so that's Saturn. Remember, he's the time master. He's the, guardian, the gatekeeper. He is a lord of karma and dharma. But yeah, so we're gonna stay with the eclipse energies, and this can unfold up to a year from now. Things can go on related to this eclipse depending on where it's happening in your chart and what's going on for your individual natal chart. What else was I going to say about that? But we're going to talk about Aldebaran is where the the north node is in Gemini. It's now come up to the fixed star Aldebaran. And then the moon will be in Sagittarius with the south node. The moon links to the past, so does the south node. And the south node is on Antares. And I woke up this morning to Uriel. It's funny because I was going to make this video so many days and it never came to me until this morning. I woke up and because Uriel is the angelic, each of the four royal fixed stars is associated with the energy of an archangel. So Aldebaran is Michael, so I'm wearing blue. And then Antares is Uriel, and Uriel is gold, and Antares is the heart of the Scorpio constellation. It's the heart. So, and that's that Pluto energy. Of course, it falls in the tropical zodiac. It falls at 9 degrees of Sagittarius, or 8 degrees and change of Sagittarius. And so, obviously, we have a shout out to the energy of courage, being courageous. Where, he's bringing up like the battle cry, like time to bring all of our resilience to the table. And when I actually watched my video. I didn't finish it, but I watched the video that I made, called The Golden Gateway. And that was the new moon that was seeded November 23rd of 2019. Okay, that was new moon was at 4 degrees of Sagittarius. This full moon is at 5. So think back to what you had going on. I know for a fact that in October of 2019 is when Mars was rising in Corvus. That's when the C word, the long C word, was like human exposure happened back then. So that was when we seeded that new moon. And a lot of us are wrapping up. I know I've talked to you in Canada, and you guys are still in lockdown, but a lot of us are having easing of restrictions. We may move into a different phase with it. But always full moons, and especially eclipses, are wrapping up a cycle. Something coming, something that we seeded that is now finished, done and dusted. Also, full moons are linked with revelations. And, Aldebaran and Antares are the royal fixed stars that we associate with war. They're the war stars. And so they were telling me 2-3 years from now that there could be an event connected with that. But when I was listening to that video from 2019, when I talked about the new moon in Sagittarius, it was at 4 degrees and change, which is the fixed star Marfik. And Marfik is the elbow of the guy in Ophiuchus who is Asclepius. I know you guys will correct me on that. It's wrong. I can't understand what they're saying to me because of Mercury right now. Alescu Pieces, or it doesn't really matter. He's dead. No, but he was a healer. I actually went to his healing site in Greece. It was pretty amazing. And, never lost a patient. But he also came up with a lot of really cool, innovative new ways to do like physical therapy. That was kind of his thing. And, people hadn't done that before. So he had like a huge, and I've been there, like an exhibition area for athletes to perform in the arena. But then he also had, they would do healing with herbs and magic is what he is saying to me right now. But that star is linked with his elbow. And so flexibility. We're learning, we're doing flexibility. And of course, Sagittarius and Gemini are immutable signs. So change. And the fixed star is associated with Mercury and, well, yeah, Mercury and Mars. But it is relating to, Ophiuchus he is wrestling a snake, and it's us. It's like we wrestle with our lower nature, we all carry in equal measure the reptilian and the angelic energy. And, it's like Jesus says the whole story in the Bible that's told about Jesus. It was really about those 40 days. It was really about when he learned to, he's saying, contain and have a measure of control. And he's saying it that way because he doesn't want to give the idea that he took himself to task when he did things that did not honor his body or his physical nature, but that, he overcame those things that we were taught were the sins of the flesh. And with Saturn moving retrograde, of course, that's the devil energy. And so where a habit has control over us, or a person, a way of thinking, they're saying that now is the time to, and Michael is showing me to cut those cords with the sword. Always when that's going on with a relationship, we've asked the soulmate for those lessons. So part of the reason that those like negative thoughts can keep occurring because we can still be, like, an aspect of us can still be in an energy of blame, which is really where when we blame someone for something, we're just taking our solar plexus, all of our power, and giving it to them. It's like saying to the universe, I have no power and no control over what happens to me. So it's, of course, with full moon, release, letting go, letting old situations and habits and mindsets of who we are. Time to let that die out. But so that is the 26th of May. And in London, we're going to just do London. It's at 12:13 p.m. Jupiter, who of course is ruling this full moon eclipse, has just moved into his traditional home of Pisces. And he will be at 2 degrees of Pisces. And the Chandra symbol is a man turning into a werewolf. Through giving in to one's animal instincts, one can most easily come to understand and guide them. I think it's more like accepting them. I don't know if we need to all be giving into them. I would be in big trouble if that was the case. Here is a need to take an often extreme and periodic break from the rigors of being encased in a social framework. So doing what everyone expects us to do. A need to throw off all repression and dive into one's deepest desires. This in and of itself is healthy as long as the person does not fall prey to thinking that these primal energies are victimizers dominating the self, like something that's got control over us, and which cannot be resisted or channeled into life-giving. Wait a minute. Doesn't fall prey to thinking that these primal energies are channeled into, I don't really know what that means, so I'm not going to read that part. At worst, there may be a secret love here of being out of control. But when this is admitted, the inner wolf may be befriended and trained without breaking its spirit. So it's like, and that is true. Like when we have that, it's their fault. It's their fault. They did it. We do take that on in a way so that we aren't the ones in control, because we're afraid to own our power. We don't recognize our power. Power to our subconscious might be something that dominates and controls other people. And so, in whatever the case is for your life, where you feel like you do not have control, it's time to speak up and let that go. The Palladian symbol is a mole cozily sleeping in its burrow. So again, going within to that harmonious place of belonging. What was he saying to me earlier? I'm grounded, centered, and balanced. And I stand when I do that. You can do it sitting too. It's so important right now when we're in this energy that we are opening the root chakra and really making a practice of that. It's a very ungrounded energy right now. We have so many planets in air, and the eclipses in air and fire, and Jupiter can be, as he's in Pisces and the traditional ruler there and ruler Sagittarius, it can be that where we're just caught up in, and our minds can just go, especially because Mercury is way out of bounds for a long time before he starts his retrograde. So it's like an extended retrograde, so we got a lot of trickster playing up for everybody. So Aldebaran, let's talk about Aldebaran a little bit. He is going to be where the sun is, where the sun is conjunct, because he's about 4 degrees away from Aldebaran, but that's, it's a big sky, so it's very close. Aldebaran is where the North Node is. Aldebaran we associate with Archangel Michael. He's actually orange in color. It's the left eye of the bull in the Taurus constellation. He's the watcher of the East. How we lead, how we move forward with a singular focus on the goal. Like nothing is going to impede me reaching that goal. Of course, Taurian energy is very methodical, and he's saying doesn't really look, it's like the way he's showing me is when that red target is there, doesn't get distracted by the drama happening here, drama happening there. I don't know about you. I've got like people around me in their own stuff, and I've had to just kind of be like, okay, it's not my, even though I have compassion. It's like a lot of us really need to just be tending to our own energy. Everyone really, right now should be tending to your own vibration, because this is such a serious energy. Also with that, and because we're talking about the heart of the Scorpion constellation, and there are some other things going on. I'm not going to get into all of it just for time, but if there is anything with a heart, like any kind of persistent nagging feeling, or, get it checked out right now, because this always eclipse season, you want to pay attention. Antares is red. It's the heart of the Scorpio constellation. It's the watcher of the West. It's about what is hidden, the deep well of courage that we have, the richness in the roots, in our roots, the golden roots, and the deep, like what's been covered up, what's been, pushed down, where we just keep putting it away, like don't want to think about it, don't want to think about it. Maybe those things will come bubbling up in this energy. Certainly in my family, that has been the case. And I want to mention that, of course, in July, Jupiter is going to move back into Aquarius. And then he's going to dip into, when he comes back into Pisces, then he's going to book through really quickly and go into Aries. So Jupiter is kind of leading the charge, leading the battle cry right now. But when we talk about golden opportunities, Jupiter is the number 3. I always think of the 3 of Cups energy, where people show up to help you, and it's a happy reunion, and there's harmonious cooperation, and that's what Jupiter does. He brings in opportunities for us to gain freedom in finances or from relationship, but always there's something beneficial with Jupiter's energy. Now, he also can kick your ass. Oh no. Oh well. I just am thinking about what I have to answer after this to upload the recording, and I said a swear. Um, but he is always beneficial. He can, be like that grandfather where it's like you're going to get what's coming to you, but it always turns out way better than we imagine it. It could start out rough, but it ends up there is a fruitful and happy conclusion. Now, I would say, as far as new relationships and job offers, things like that coming in right now, remember that this Mercury period is going to wrap up about July 11th. So just things will change, and you may go back and be in a place of indecision. That's okay. With what's going on with Neptune in the sky right now, there is confusion. There really isn't the road. He's showing me like the yellow brick road, the golden path. Isn't like lighted all the way. They're showing me like 3 street lights. Like we can see. He's saying as much as we need to see going forward, that we all have an idea of where to take that first step toward the future. And it's going to be different for everyone, but it is really, when I looked back at the astrology from 2019, when the new moon began at 4 Sag, then I could really see the long C word, because it was already going on. We just did not know. But there was a tower. When I did the reading in that video, the overall reading was the tower, and I know the tower is coming up a lot again in reading. So I'm not really sure what that's about. But, if you were, especially with the new moon eclipse coming in Gemini, series, who is about nurturing, nourishment, food, that's grown, that we use to maybe comfort food, but it is with Uranus. And so if you're looking for the time to like start a new physical activity or break an old habit, always you want to focus your energy toward implementing the new habit, because then the old ones just go away. But if you were thinking about doing a cleanse or anything like that, that would be beneficial for the physical body, or any new daily rituals, even like as far as spiritual practice, this would be a really good energy. This eclipse energy would be a good time to do that. That and the reason that I'm talking about Aldebaran and Antares is because the nodes are still going to be on those royal fixed stars when we have the new moon in Gemini. So we're talking about a lot of weeks of this energy moving forward. And Mercury, at the time of the eclipse on June 10th, Mercury is sitting on Bellatrix. Oh, Bellatrix. Yeah, I know that was intentional. Um, that's because Bellatrix is tricky. And it is that Mars Mercury energy where it's so important what we're telling ourselves. And he is saying also with Mars Mercury that it's important what we're envisioning. How do we see it playing out? Remember that when you have those little imaginings in your mind, that is going out like waves through all that is, and those waves come back. So always, if we can train our minds to see, the benefit of it. And even now that I know, because Sedna is with Algol and Black Moon Lilith, they're in a trine to Pluto, and a lot of people are in a very dark place. A lot of people have, are just at their wits' end with feeling alone and lonely. And that's only a trick of the mind. If you could see through your third eye all the time, you would know that you are always surrounded by your teammates, is what I hear my ancestors saying. And you're always surrounded by your angels. You have your personal team that you chose to guide you here. And then you have, of course, the archangels, too, that you can have. Any of us could talk to anytime. Always on call, always available. Michael is saying. And yeah, and asking for their guidance right now. that they are happy to intercede on our behalf. And that Mercury, Sun, Moon in Gemini for the June 10th new moon, it's situated between the North Node, which is on Archangel Michael's royal fixed star, and the asteroid Saint Michael, which is the Michael energy. So that just tells me that we're going to be in situations where we need to speak our mind, where he is saying we'll have a chance to air grievances in a kind and harmonious way, and to resolve, like bring resolution to relationships where that just are no longer, there's nothing left to learn from one another, and it's time to move on. And I think what he's showing me too is friends falling away. Maybe, there won't be a big confrontation, but just naturally falling away. And that always happens when we go through upgrades and things change, and we're having a big, evolution right now. It's interesting that with the energy of the new moon on June 10th, that the 6th house begins at the avatar degree. The 15th degree of fixed signs is known as the avatar degree. And when that happens, Saturn, who is at 13, really close to 14 degrees, and the vertex is at 16. And so that tells me that there's going to be a lot of effort needed. And I want to just say, too, when you're listening to readings where people talk about sacrifice, if you can train your subconscious mind to hear that as effort, we still have a lot of that religion stuff play out. But a lot of times what we see as a sacrifice, which is really just, investing in ourselves, investing in the opportunities that will be coming in, or investing time and energy into making your own opportunities, or he's saying working with what is already there to create fruitful, abundant work, things that bring us fulfillment and satisfaction. At the time of these eclipses, Mars will be coming to face Pluto. Mars is at the end of Cancer. He will come right back into bounds just before the eclipse on the 26th, but he is in that opposition to Pluto, which is, again, a lot of Scorpio energy, a lot of that things and situations coming up where we find that well of courage, where our fight, and it's really fighting for ourselves, fighting for fairness, fighting for equality, not necessarily a verbal fight, because really with this energy, it's not going to do any good. Two people can be screaming and yelling at each other right now, but neither one of them is going to hear the other one. So that would just be a waste. I'm just going to tell you right now. But, this looks, and like I said, I would be surprised at this point on the 23rd as Saturn comes to a halt, if what's going to happen for you, like over the eclipse, if you don't have some idea already for that full moon eclipse, because it is such a big energy when it's a super full moon lunar eclipse. It's huge. It's such a big energy. Venus is going to be squaring Chiron, and that will be, because Venus is in Cancer, it's most likely going to relate to parents, possibly siblings, where we have felt our power was abused or we've been taken advantage of. Venus in Cancer can give to the point of total depletion. So watch with that, what's going on for you. Because whenever we have these, we come to these gateways, right? We always have an opportunity to show, have we learned that lesson? Have we learned our boundaries? Have we learned how other people can show us respect? Or are we still allowing ourselves to be taken advantage of? So just know that if that's something that you've recently, said, okay, I'm finished with that, the universe will bring a soulmate. Your higher self will bring a soulmate. Check that out and see if that is true. I want to just read about Bellatrix. Okay, so she is a massive pale yellow star, Joy, marking the left shoulder. So, of course, something in relation to the feminine. Okay. And it's Latin. Bellatrix is Latin for female warrior, left. It was also called the Amazon star. So it's about the, Wonder Woman, which comes from the Arabic name Al-Najid, which means the conqueror. An older Arabic name was, and then it's spelled in Arabic, so I have no idea what it was, but it means the lion. Okay? And so expect strength to come back. I know for all of us who are like, oh my God, I'm so tired. That might be good, right? June 10th. And then, so it was connected a lot with civil and military honors. It also indicates lucky and loquacious women, Amazon women. And it says that women born under this star shall have mighty tongues. So I wanted to read the characteristics such as quick decision making, thoughts and plans being realized with energy, courage, and fighting spirit, strategic talents, ability to organize, discrimination, discernment, but can be reckless, aggressive energy of a belligerent daredevil. So don't anyone turn into a belligerent daredevil. But yeah, it's a good star. It's a good, I mean, I'm happy with all of these fixed stars coming in. I don't see anything negative. Of course, did I see the worldwide pandemic back in November 2019? No. Nope, I did not. Even when I was shown it in February during what was the Emerald Fire meeting that we had, I didn't know what I was seeing. So like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we move into like a new phase now with it. It could be, variants. I'm not going to throw my hat into that arena because who knows, right? Oh yeah, and then let's talk about the new moon chart. I will talk to you guys again before the 10th, but just because of what's going on with me. And shoot, you guys, I don't have it. Nope, I don't have it. I'll write it in the comment box. Like I said, time for these things, it's like, you don't have to be right there doing your new moon manifestation at that moment or anything like that. But I know people like to know the time. I do too, so I'll write it in there. But yeah, I mean, when you talk about Jupiter in the harmonious, so when this new moon that was seated, that we're coming up to the full moon on the 26th, did I not print that? Oh yeah, I did. So it's interesting because on the fixed star Antares at that time was Pallas Athena. So again, the feminine warrior. She is the feminine warrior archetype. Also the goddess of wisdom, very strategic, but she's a warrior. And Archangel Gabriel were both there. Jupiter was at the very end of Sagittarius. So he was in like where he is today at the beginning of Pisces for the full moon. Then it is a sextile, which is an energy of a choice, a decision that we've made. And so what unfolds because of those decisions that we've made going back to November 2019. And I'll tell you something, if your decision was to focus on yourself and do what was best for you, then expect that you'll have a lot of rewards and abundance coming in and a sense of fulfillment. Archangel Uriel is saying. Okay, so I was just asking Uriel if he would like to say anything specifically, and he's saying that the key to change is to focus all of your energy on building the new. I don't remember who said that. But yeah, and just being grounded and centered and remembering that you are a peaceful warrior, Michael is saying. And Michael is reminding me of what I did when all of these Uranus transits started for me years ago. I called in a blue wave. It was about this color. I called in the blue wave through all of the waters in my body, but for our house and our family too. So I would encourage you to do that. And Michael is saying if you haven't been reminded of how to do that in this lifetime yet, that you can always call on them for help. And then Uriel is reminding me that with the Scorpio or the Antares energy, we like to have a sense of independence, and we could be like not so open to help. So I would just be in that attitude that you are asking for help, that it has nothing to do with, he's saying that you can't handle it on your own, but why would you want to? He's saying, excuse me. So Metatron did give me some cards. I'm wondering if I should grab those. But the cards were miracle. And, with Jupiter, it's hope and faith and trust. And you can't go wrong, really. Because when Jupiter and Neptune are both in Pisces, we're definitely not seeing the entire picture. So like I said, if you can just imagine it unfolding miraculously, peacefully, everyone in your life being happy for you, happy together, if that really does work. And it really will help you with the trickster. Remember that as Mercury is making his way through Gemini, out of bounds and retrograde and all that stuff, that he is square to Neptune 3 times. So one of those times was yesterday, and that can be a very sad energy. That's where that can be that is it 8 of cups or 8 of swords? Where you just spiral down, where it's like all of a sudden everything looks so dark. I mean, we have the potential for both right now. They're showing me that vortex energy. If you've ever been around a lot of vortex, if you go to Glacier, you can see them. But there are spots around Glacier where they have them as well. And if you've ever spent time in those areas, you can really go very quickly spiral down, and you can also spiral up. But that is where we are right now. Jupiter is the wheel of fortune, and the wheel is always spinning. So is Uranus. I say Uranus is because Uranus wasn't discovered when they assigned that to Jupiter. But, we are in that energy, and then they're showing me now the wheels going really quickly. So anyway, you guys, I apologize that this is so much later than I thought it would be. I was happy to get some help this week from an astrologer here who works with health issues, and I will pass on her information, but I want to talk to her first. So, and she works by phone. So, but she was amazing. She was just like this wealth of knowledge. And I really benefited from that session. So I definitely want to pass along her name so that you guys have an opportunity to talk to her if you'd like to. So anyway, you guys, I am excited for, when my schedule, my heaping plate of responsibilities has some things taken off of it, then I have some ideas going forward of getting back into monthly meetings or doing some sort of class, something like that. I don't really know exactly yet how that's going to look, because I think I just have so much on my mind that they're kind of, they've just kind of let me know that would be what's coming, but not exactly what it is and what the details are. But I'm looking forward to that because I love talking to you guys. And thanks again to everyone waiting for sessions with me. And I love talking to all of you guys and getting to hear from you. I know your energy from videos, so it's always nice to meet and to look at what lines up in our charts. So, I can always tell that we know each other. But yeah. All right, you guys, I'm sending you so much love. Take good care of yourselves. I will talk to you before June 10th, but I wanted to, just because the nodes of fate are in the same place for both of the eclipses, and the energies are pretty much, everything's pretty much in the same place. So I thought we would talk about all of that just in case other things come up and I can't get to it until the 7th of June or something, but hopefully that won't be the case. All right, guys. Love you guys. Bye-bye.